my gosh. Okay, so there is an energy going on where like we have to purge certain things and tell our story. And so if you see this video, please tag it and share, and also tag your story of how you became you. So when I was 18, I had gotten pregnant with someone that I thought was like the love of my life, and the family disapproved, and so they insulted my mom, insulted me, that my mom didn't raise me well, and all that stuff. And my mom was hurt, and the father had told the boy that I was pregnant with to tell me to get rid of the child. And he came and he said, get rid of the child and we can have our relationship, and when we are older we can get married. And I said, no, if you're not man enough to stand up for us, then you can go. I'll keep my child. I'll show my child. And my child is 19. And I had my child, and that changed my entire trajectory of life, because I switched in a different timeline, because you always switch into a different timeline based on the decisions that you make. So my timeline became entirely different, and what I have been through, a lot. But I have 7 more children, and so I have 8 altogether, and none of them could have been here if I didn't choose the children. I think in my previous life, I made a mistake of choosing the man over my child, and that didn't end up too well, because I could see how it played out. Because after I had gotten married to someone else, I was brought to the decision to choose myself and my children over the marriage, which was breaking cultural ideations where, like, when a woman leaves her marriage, especially coming from my culture, you're like the bad apple. But from my first decision of choosing my first child, all the other decisions that came after that was choosing myself and my children. And so I think I corrected that timeline, and I had zero shame in birthing at an early age. I had zero shame in leaving a toxic marriage and choosing the safety of myself and my children. And so here we are now. But I think that what happened was I crammed in a lot of learning and becoming, so that I can be who I am today. And who I am today is Sophia reborn. The Magdalenes that were shamed, that were called whores, I know who I am as the divine feminine, the creator of universes. And each child that I have is a universe. And now I have multi-universes that are attached to my own universe. But I'm sharing this because it is time that we women stand in our power, and that's why the Venusian scrolls came out through me. We stand in our power, and we don't look at anybody else for the decisions that we make. We own our decisions. However way it turns out is always for the better, because the spiritual alignment that I have gained from the path that I chose, and the decentering of men, and the abolition of cultural programmings that made women feel like, they only matter if they're chosen by men, when it's the other way around. It's you that choose the right type of man for you to have a seed with, or for them to be allowed in your pavilion. And so the roles were reversed, where we thought that, we didn't matter unless you mattered to a man. But that has changed. And it has not changed in a way like we're creating something new. It has changed in a way that it has resulted back into its original default settings. It has always been the woman. It's always been us. And if you follow Dr. Megan Rookly, one of my dear friends, She's on her journey and she's correcting the field, and she is literally putting down the blueprint of how man can be of service to the divine feminine. And in doing so, see, men think that if they worship the woman, if they honor the woman, it takes away from their masculinity. It does not, because the woman or creation itself, which is the woman, the divine feminine, Sophia, holds the divine masculine and femininity within herself. She birthed the demiurge, which was the first divine masculine. And so when you honor the woman, you're honoring yourself. When you put her on a pedestal, you're putting yourself on a pedestal. But a lot of people think that if you honor the woman, you're a simp. That's not the case. Because you will see, that's why they said behind every great successful man, there's a powerful woman. Because she's the one. She's the powerhouse. But honoring her gives you grace, gives you opulence, gives you sophistication. But when you think that, you can betray her, you see what happens after. But the culture and the religions have shamed women far too long, and they have caused women to damage their bodies in an attempt to fit into society that is a patriarchal society, and that has caused a lot of harm. And now we remember, and we're stepping into our grace, and we're abolishing the false patriarchy. And the divine feminine, the matriarchy, Sophia, is now seated on her throne. In my original culture before the corruption, if a man was to get a woman pregnant, the family will come together and they will unite them and they will support them and maintain the marriage and the child, and they'll teach them all the cultural things that they need to teach them so that the man and the child grows fruitfully and abundantly in source knowledge and cultural, spiritual knowledge. But in my case, this particular individual wanted to save face, and in saving face was for me to kill my child, and I didn't. And so I was shamed. But my mother, being who she is and being her only child, she said, no, what if you're not able to have another child again? Then my lineage ends. So she supported and guided me to have this child, and my life has been completely different. And I'm telling you, it was not easy. There was a lot of things that I had to go through until I came into my own learning of who and what I am. And I sat on my throne, now divorced with 8 children. I have never felt more powerful, more liberated because of the sacrifices that I have made. I have been given grace by source, and I've embodied a cosmic Mother Sophia, and I'm so much more powerful, and that's why I'm here. So whatever it is that is your story, you're powerful for choosing what it is that you chose. I don't care what it is. You're powerful for choosing what you chose, because that was a decision that you were not able to make previously in a different lifetime, and you chose that. Whether you chose to be childless this time around, not married this time around, these are corrections that you came here to make. And so power to you, love to you, light to you. Sit on your throne, because you did that.